What?
We are back, friends.
My God.
I know we say that every week, but we're going to be back this time.
This has been, wow, the longest break ever.
I'm so happy to see you.
Me too.
Yeah, it's crazy. How long has it been?
It feels like 8 years. It is. I was trying to think about that. Christy, we broke when we were like, we're going to take a break because you were going on a kick-ass trip.
I was going on a kick-ass trip. That's right.
To England and Spain.
Right.
Which you did.
I did, and we can talk about that later.
So whenever that was.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which was April? Yeah. So it's.
Fuck.
And things got weird, man.
Yeah, things got weird because you had an actual job.
Yeah, and
I mean, you've had actual jobs before,
but this was different.
This was very demanding.
Yes, and so it just nothing. Whatever. We
just could never get together.
Yeah, and now some things have changed that I don't really want to talk about, but I feel good, and we're back, and we're in the new studio.
We're in the new studio, so I've had some family staying with me, and they're gone now.
Gone.
Super proud of them.
Yeah.
And so we moved the old Tat studio into the big room.
I mean, we're playing the big room.
We're playing the big room now. Yeah. I mean, it's like, and it's coming along. The room's coming along. We've got the Overlook Hotel poster hanging over my shoulder.
It's
We've
lovely.
got, various
nice curtains,
skulls and curtains. It gets hot back here. So, we got to cover. It's also combined with the fact that I'm a vampire.
Right.
And I like the dark.
Yeah.
So I have to block out the sun.
And it's 107 degrees.
And it's 107 degrees outside.
Yeah.
In Texas.
On
the terrible state.
July 4th.
On July 4th. Fuck July 4th. Yeah, I'm going to watch Jaws later.
Of course.
Because that's what I do on the 4th of July.
Yes. It was funny because I know that is a tradition, and it's a great tradition. It's, and I have said this before, I was born the year Jaws was made. Mm-hmm. I was birthed when the summer blockbuster was born. So
you are a summer blockbuster.
I am a summer blockbuster. So I was born a couple months after in the fall. So I'm about to be 47 in October. They were hitting on shit 47 years ago.
47 years ago, which just proves that shit hasn't changed. We have never actually been the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
And it really pisses me off when I go online and I see people like, it's still the greatest country in the world.
Based on what?
Based on what? Greatest country for who?
Yeah.
Old white men?
Yes, seriously. And I'm like, this is almost a half century ago where Spielberg was like, well, we got to really attack the shitty fucking politician who cares more about making money on July 4th weekend than kids dying.
Than kids being eaten by a fucking shark.
And that shark is going to take revenge.
It is. It's going to follow you, man. It's going to follow you all the way down to Barbados.
Yes. So, that's cool. I'm glad you're keeping that tradition alive.
We're just going to eat chili dogs or Frito pie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We are, in a twist, going to go to the fruiteria by our house.
Oh, nice.
And that's what we're going to do for July 4th.
That's great because you know who keeps this country running?
Yeah.
Mexicans.
Yes, absolutely.
Immigrants. So it's correct to celebrate
them
with the desserts of my people. Hey, I got something for you.
Yeah, I am freaking out.
First of all, I have to say I did have tacos this morning.
Excellent.
And usually, like when we're feeling super lazy and I don't want to make breakfast tacos, John just goes to the Whole Foods and gets tacos. But this morning he went to Fiesta because we have an abundance of grocery stores here in Old East Dallas.
You really do,
we
right
really
around
do.
you.
I have a Sprouts, I have a Fiesta, I have a Trader Joe's, I have a Whole Foods.
You got them all.
Tom Thumb. So we are an embarrassment of riches in grocery stores. And this morning, for some reason, he was like, I'm going to Fiesta to get tacos. And I have to say, breakfast tacos at Fiesta, better than breakfast tacos at Whole Foods.
I believe that fully.
So delicious.
I
don't know what's in them. Because it's the same ingredients.
Yeah, but is it?
Is it?
I think love is the...
Yeah.
I have not had a taco today, but I am proud of this. Aspen Taylor and I, not last week, but the week before, every day of the week...
Had tacos?
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
From various, ranging from small taqueria to Taco Bell. We ran the gamut Gambit, whatever that word is.
Gamut.
Yes, thank you.
We're both losing vocabulary.
Seriously. Also, like Taco Joint, just a bunch of different places. And we at one, it wasn't planned. It just happened.
It just happened.
Yeah.
But because we have an abundance of taco places, and you have an abundance of taco places where you are.
Where I am, yeah. And also, it's cheap and it's fast and it's delicious. Yeah.
It's the perfect food.
But
I don't know if you saw my post on Instagram. A few days ago, I was at a Quick Stop.
I did.
I was at a Quick Trip. It's called the Quick Trip, not Quick Stop.
I did see
and
that.
I was on my way to a meeting, and I needed a drink, and I stopped at the Quick Trip. And now, they have the Quick Trip is like the haven of snack foods and like fast. Get something fast.
Yeah.
Nothing that is good for you,
No.
but it's all fast. And over by the chip section, and where they have the microwaves and all that stuff, they had a little rack with walking tacos. And it was just like bags of Doritos and Fritos, right?
I don't understand.
And it's like, it's a bag of Doritos and a bag of Fritos, and it says walking taco. And I'm like, what
the fuck does that even mean?
Taco. And then, so it says, add fresh ingredients. And then there's a pot of chili and queso. And I'm like, do you mean a Frito pie?
So is the idea you're just going to make a Frito pie, they're going to call it a taco because they're fucking idiots, and then you're going to
walk around, but
in a bag?
In a bag, and it's like, that's just like an old-fashioned Frito pie that you used to get at the carnival, or
that you put in a bag.
That you put in a bag. A taco is already a walking taco.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
Also, what tacos are you eating that have Fritos and chili in them?
Right. That's a Frito pie.
That's a Frito pie. I don't get it.
No, that's absurd.
I was very I was just confused for 2 seconds.
Right.
And I was standing there, and then this construction worker, I think he was a construction worker, he had on his construction worker outfit, was standing next to me, and we were both kind of confused looking at it. And then I snapped a picture, and he laughed. And we were both just kind of like, what the hell is a walking taco?
That doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense.
Also,
eat real tacos, people.
And if you need to walk, you can.
You can, because that's what a taco is.
Yeah, you can just hold it.
You can just hold it.
You're an adult.
You're an adult. You can do whatever you want. I am holding my microphone because something's not working here, but I'm going to keep holding it, and I'll be fine.
Okay, so to go back to grocery stores.
Yeah.
John,
look what I got for you.
Yeah, John and you have tracked down something that I have not been able to find in my neighborhood, and I'm too lazy to go to another neighborhood. This is Coca-Cola Coffee.
Coca-Cola Coffee. And so he bought an array because that's what John does.
Yeah.
John will just buy 20 of one thing.
That's because he's a hero.
He's a hero, and he was like, I don't know what Mike's going to want. So he bought vanilla Coke coffee, espresso Coke coffee, mocha Coke coffee,
Amazing.
caramel Coke coffee, and then he bought a vanilla Coke Zero coffee for
you,
me.
because he's a good husband.
And so, because he's a good husband. He's part of the Midnight Pants.
Yes.
Order of the Midnight Pants. I'll explain that later. So we're going to try it. We're going to crack it open.
I'm so excited.
On the air. You've got the vanilla coffee, right?
Yes.
I've got vanilla Coke Zero. Yeah.
So many years ago, when I lived in Austin, Coca-Cola was trying out a product called Coke Black, which was coffee and Coke. And Austin was one of the test cities. Yeah. I was obsessed with it.
Of course you were.
And then it just disappeared. And so now...
Because people are idiots.
Yeah. And so now I have assumed some new form. But all right, here we go.
Here we
Cheers.
Go. Cheers. Oh my God.
Fucking A, man. Oh my God.
I'm never going back.
No, oh my God.
Shit.
Y'all, I might just drink this Coke for an hour, and that might be
might be this episode.
Oh my God.
This is really good.
This is so good.
This is really good. I don't want regular coffee ever again. I just want Coke coffee.
Maybe we are the best country in the world.
Maybe we are the best country in the world.
You like coffee and soda? Here, motherfucker.
Here, take it all back. And here, put some chili in this bag of Fritos.
This is so good. This is so good.
So delicious. So we found this... Coke is not paying us for this endorsement, by the way, but if they want
we will totally take your money, Coca-Cola.
No. We love Coca-Cola here. But if you want to know where to find them, John Flores finds them at the Tom Thumb on Lover's Lane. Sorry, out-of-towners, if you're out of town. And
yeah, I don't know. Can't help you.
Can't help you. But in Dallas, you can get them at the Tom Thumb on Lover's Lane. It's very good.
It is delicious.
We're going to have to try the other ones. You're going to have to take some of the other ones
so
home.
Good.
So good.
So we are going to talk about movies today. 2 movies, right?
Yeah.
X, written and directed by one Ty West.
Oh, my God. Genius.
Yeah, and Studio 666.
Oh, yes. I had forgotten about Studio 666.
Well, Christy, that's not surprising. That is the Foo Fighters horror comedy something. Spoof, maybe.
Who knows?
We'll get there. But we did really want to talk about X.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about it in a way that we don't spoil some things because
you need to go see this movie.
You guys got to go see this movie or sit in your living room and have it come to you.
Yeah. So it's funny, like, I don't know if it's funny, but I was talking to Aspen before I came over. Mm-hmm. Aspen, one of her favorite horror movies is House of the Devil, which is Ty West's film. And we know, recap, if you've forgotten in the 9 months we haven't done this, Aspen, not necessarily the biggest horror fan.
No.
But she loves House of the Devil. So we watched X together. She loved X. And then I got her to watch The Innkeepers for the first time. Yeah, and she really liked The Innkeepers and basically yelled at our television for the last 10 minutes of that film. But so before I came over, I was like, hey, why do you like Ty West?
Right.
I just sort of sprung this on her. She had not prepared. But she said something. I was like, man, that's a good answer. Mm-hmm. So Aspen Taylor said, I like Ty West because he knows how to do a visual throwback without being obnoxious. Like, he doesn't set something in the 80s and put everyone in a fucking side ponytail like that goddamn Wonder Woman movie.
Right.
And, like, it's
true. That is a great quote.
It's great. And
it's part of it.
And this is X takes place in the late 1970s. Uh-huh. And while maybe not as much, House of the Devil is so much about you might think it was made in the 80s.
We did.
Yeah. This features enough famous people and things that I don't think he's trying to do the same thing. But from the get-go, I was like, he shoots this like...
he got it.
It looks like the 1970s. It feels like the 1970s.
The stars look like 1970s actors.
The soundtrack is great.
And I'm not saying just like how they're dressed. I'm talking about physically, like the aesthetic of the 1970s. You know,
the dudes have hair. When they're shirtless, they have hair.
Right, like Britney Snow is like, I don't know, is like just reminds me of those blondes from that era. The Nancy Allens and stuff like that. And Mia Goth is perfect for that era.
So from the first shot of this film, it's like this Ty West's attention to detail is like kind of, I mean, I don't want to say unparalleled, but I mean, he takes this shit fucking seriously.
Yeah, you think that's why it took him 6 years to make another feature?
Yes, I honestly do. And I think probably COVID threw him for a loop, and maybe it would have only taken 5 years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I really do, because, down to this takes place starts in Houston, outside of Houston or something.
Yeah, and it's perfect. Like, it starts out in Houston at a titty bar.
Yeah.
In Houston, that is set right next to the oil refineries.
Yes.
Which is exactly where the titty bars are.
Yeah, and then it quickly moves to like rural Texas. Mm-hmm. But even like the detail of like finding the 1970s Shiner Bock or Shiner beer cans, and the 1970s Lone Star cans, and like Aspen again. This is crazy. Aspen's grandfather owned Spetzel Brewery before Shiner bought it.
Really?
Yeah, man.
How did I not know?
It's weird.
This?
Like, he's in the book about Shiner's history. So she grew up, and he kept some sort of relationship with the people who ran Shiner. So her house was like filled with Shiner memorabilia.
My life makes sense now.
Yeah, and she still has like weird Shiner memorabilia and books and shit. And like the minute she saw that can, she was like, "Oh my God!" And I was like, not only is that so specific to Texas, so specific to the 70s, that specific design of the canvas, like he could easily have gotten away with not doing that.
Right, because who knows? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
We were the only ones at that time.
Yeah.
I mean,
now
not
Shiner's
you and
out
me
there.
personally, but like Texans were the only one at that time who could identify that.
But he takes. That's the level of detail he wants,
right?
And that's, I think, one of the reasons I love him so much.
I don't know. He's just he pays so much attention to detail, and you can tell that whatever era he's setting his movies in, the House of the Devil, the 80s, Innkeepers is what, 90s, right?
Early aughts. I think
early aughts,
like the birth of the internet,
right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
He just pays so much attention to the details, not only of people living in that decade, but what filmmaking was doing.
Yes. And I think that's even what Aspen was saying when she said like visual nod or whatever. That's because it's not. Again, a lot of movies will be set in the 70s and they're great, but it's more about these are the costumes, these are the cars,
right? And it's colorized to look like 2021 or whatever.
But he doesn't.
He goes all the way.
Even the fades that he uses in X, and we'll get to the plot, I guess, in a minute, are reminiscent of, like you said, how horror filmmakers were making films in the 70s.
The way the movies cut, everything, the storytelling, the pace of the storytelling. He just, I don't know. You can just tell that he super, super loves film.
Yeah.
And unlike Quentin Tarantino, whom I know people are going to hate me, I like his movies. I do. But him as a person, like, is obnoxious to me.
It's like such an obnoxious human
because he spends so much time telling you how much he tells you. He broadcasts constantly how much he knows about the genre of film that he's making.
Yes.
And Ty West doesn't do that. He just shows you this beautifully.
Yeah. Yes, there's no like moment in House of the Devil where you get beat over the head with like, so what I did was I watched Friday the 13th 19 times, and I did a bunch of coke and tried to fuck Mira Sorvino, and then this is what I came up with. I'm sorry, man, I fucking hate him. I hate him. I don't hate his films. I just
he's a dick.
And I'm like, I was like, can there please be one Italian director who does just not. Just perpetuate every fucking Italian stereotype.
Yeah.
Anyway, conversation for another time. Ty West doesn't do that. I
don't even think of him as an Italian director. That's so crazy.
He wrote my least favorite monologue in the history of film in True Romance, which is very much like a racist screed about what Sicilians are, and it's actually sort of very racist to people of color.
So crazy. Like I've never even.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean Tarantino, and it's not even like. You want to know? This is really terrible. Should I say it?
Just say it.
Every time I think of Quentin Tarantino, I don't think Italian. I think like poor white kid that grew up in a trailer park.
Sure, and that is what I'm sure more. Again, this isn't like Scorsese or Coppola, who's like the son of immigrants, right? This is removed, right? But there are things he does.
There's nothing wrong with growing up in a trailer park.
No, absolutely not. Or being the son of immigrants.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, so that's fucking Tarantino. We'll do a whole episode.
We'll do a whole episode.
So X is about a porn shoot,
right?
In that they've gotten a ranch, a farm.
Yeah. So the main character, I can't remember his name, but it's the guy who's in Virgin River, which I find super hilarious.
The producer guy.
Yeah, the producer guy.
I wrote it down.
What's his name? Dwayne.
Yeah, and man,
I'm awful now.
So blind.
Man, I fucking forget character names.
Yeah, Dwayne.
Oh, Dwayne, I got it right. Yeah, so
Martin Henderson.
He is.
That dude's fantastic.
He is fantastic, and he's like the. Well, I don't know how old Britney Snow is, but anyway,
he is at least in the film.
In the film, he's the oldest character.
Yes,
and we don't know if he runs the titty bar. We don't know what but he is.
He's got his hand in a lot of pots.
He's producing this porn film, and he is he has this girlfriend played by Mia Goth, who is fantastic in this movie. I love her, period.
Dude, she's so good.
But I mean, this movie puts her on the map of like horror genre queen.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, so she plays this. She doesn't look like Britney Snow. She's like, you know, it's that super weird 70s aesthetic. She's like a Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Shelley Duvall in the 70s.
Yes.
Which is in everybody's taste, but there's something about her, and this is what they keep saying in the movie about her character, is that there's something special about her.
Yeah. So I mean, even the title X, which obviously like
X Factor, that's right.
Right. Is of course we're talking about porn, but yes, it is she has the X Factor, right? And she believes that of herself.
Oh yeah.
Like
I mean that opening shot
where she just like does a line of coke and looks in the mirror.
Yeah, and she's like, you're gonna be somebody.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, you are
gonna be somebody.
So they go off to this.
He has found a farm.
Yeah.
Out
in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, Texas.
Which is not hard to find.
It's not hard to find. And it's interesting to me that it starts out in Houston, because if you're going to go out and find a farm near Houston, it's going to be either like kind of like coastal.
Right.
But this is not. I think this is more piney woods.
Yeah, this looks more like East Texas.
Right. And if you've never been to East Texas, if you've never been to the piney woods, that's fucking Deliverance time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's lovely. Landscape-wise, it's beautiful.
Yes.
But
it looks different than the rest of the state.
It looks different than the rest of the state. And I went to school at Texas A&M College Station, which is
Aggies.
right in the middle of piney woods. And parts of it are scary.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's like John and I, two Mexican kids in a truck driving through Vidor, Texas. Yeah. It's not fun.
Dude. Oh, my God. Yeah.
So
I stopped in Vidor once. I'm a white kid, and I still was like, we got to get the fuck out of this place.
We got to get the fuck out of this place. Anyway, so I think that was really clever on his part, too. And I don't think it's an accident because he's that smart.
No, I agree. And I even think starting in Houston is smart, as opposed to, say, starting in Dallas or San Antonio or Austin.
Right.
Houston is, even though a lot of people I don't think know this outside of the state because of like the Cowboys and the show Dallas, like Houston is so much fucking bigger than Dallas.
It is so much fucking bigger.
And it is oil and gas.
Oil and gas.
Yeah.
And it's important that, I do think it's important that this titty bar is in Houston, because that is where all the wildcatters hang out. And it's got to be that environment of like working class, right?
Yes.
She is absolutely working class.
Yeah.
And she looks working class.
Right.
And she still looks in the mirror and goes, I'm going to be fucking special.
Yeah.
And everybody else sees that about her too.
Yeah.
So it's not just her. It's her, and then Britney Snow plays the other girl.
Porn actress.
Yeah. And she is typical porn actress, like short blonde hair.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Melanie Griffith in Body Double.
Yeah,
actually.
like blue eyeshadow.
Like she's like disco. She's more like disco glamour.
Yeah.
And Mia Goth is more like country.
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall. And Shelley Duvall actually is from Houston. So
that's right.
So it's that look. It's just like this weird look.
Yeah.
And then what's the name of the actor that is the porn actor in real life? I don't want to mispronounce his name.
You mean the rapper?
The rapper.
So his I'm so old. The rapper?
That hip hop artist.
He performs as Kid Cudi.
Oh, okay.
That's his performance. His real name is, I believe, Scott Mescudi.
He's really good.
He's fantastic.
He's so good in this movie.
He is famous as Kid Cudi.
Okay.
But he uses his real name in the movie. In the credits. Yeah.
Right. And
he's fucking great. So
Jenna Ortega.
So Jenna Ortega plays the girlfriend of the
filmmaker.
Oh my God.
So what's his name? Dwayne is the producer.
He's the money.
He's the money. And all that stuff.
He's gotten the farm or ranch or whatever.
He's hired this kid who is an aspiring filmmaker.
Oh yes.
And his girlfriend is the boom mic.
I think slash PA slash gonna do everything.
Played by Jenna Ortega.
Yes.
And she's younger than everybody else.
She's younger, and she is quote Christian. Like we see the cross around her neck. she's a little off put by what's happening at first.
And
her boyfriend, who is the writer director,
and cinematographer,
and is always talking about like, well, what the French have been doing.
What the French have been doing is it makes it look less low budget if we do it like French art film.
So he fancies himself like this is gonna be something, whereas like Dwayne is like,
just get the fucking.
And Dwayne even talks about like the birth of like VHS or beta or whatever that's coming, and they're going to make a fortune.
They're going to make a fortune.
How they're going to make their money,
which is actually true.
Yes,
I mean that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like Boogie Nights is whole centered around that.
Right. So they go off into the country in this van, and they're talking about we're going to make this movie, and they have a discussion. You know. They have a discussion about making porn or whatever.
Yeah.
So they get to this farm. And out in the middle of nowhere, and Dwayne goes up to the front door, and the first thing we see is the old man comes to the door with a fucking shotgun.
Yep. Welcome to Texas.
Welcome to Texas. And I do have to say that at first, I don't want to say this without, because then I'll give away a big plot point.
Okay.
But you know, there's like makeup effects.
Oh yeah,
in the movie.
Definitely. No. I mean, I even think that yes, that guy is playing older than he is.
Right.
Yes.
And at first, I was like, well, that's so clearly older. I mean, that's so clearly makeup, right?
Yes.
And at first, I was like, this is weird. But I also feel that Ty West is smart enough. It's the one thing to me that stands out.
Yeah,
in the world, but I think he does it on purpose too, and I'm not quite sure why.
So
yet.
I mean, I think,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there are a couple reasons. I at least have some thoughts. I think there are a couple reasons. One,
what has to happen in the movie?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And to not do that, I think would be fucked up.
Right.
We're just trying to talk around this huge plot point.
Right.
The other is my first thought was it was a nod to Chainsaw.
Oh, okay.
In which the grandfather is played by, I believe, a 19-year-old.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and so 19 or 18 or 19, 20. Like kid played the old man in Chainsaw. So that was my first thought because honestly, I think this was
I hadn't even thought of that.
And you have the scene in the van, which is you're in the middle of Texas, which is very Chainsaw, which I think he does on purpose.
Sure.
So you're like, oh, this is his homage to Chainsaw.
Right. No.
And then shit takes a fucking turn,
and then shit takes a turn. Like you think you know what you're going to watch, and then it takes a turn.
Yeah.
I mean, and God, the cinematography is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyway, they get to this place, and we're gonna try and talk around it as best we can. And the guy remembers, oh yeah, you rented the guest house or whatever.
Right.
So he takes him out to the guest house, which is like maybe 100 yards from the big house. And he says, it's me and my wife. My wife is ill. Blah, blah, blah.
And you're like, okay.
Okay, whatever. So they go out to the guest house and it's perfect.
Right.
Like they don't have to art direct.
No, it's ready to go.
It's ready to go. And they're like, we're going to make a fucking porn.
Yeah.
And so while they're getting ready, this is the shot I'm talking about. They're shooting one of the scenes. Mia Goth goes out walking, which I never understand. I mean, of course, it's a movie, but me living in Texas and being partly from the country because I come from is now a city, but it was a small town. I'm like, you don't just wander out into the country by yourself. You don't just wander out into the country by yourself. Why don't people know this?
Yeah, you can just smoke right out in front of the door.
Right in front of the door. If you don't live in the country and you're not used to walking through the woods by yourself,
don't do it.
Don't do it. And I'm not just talking like horror movie. I'm talking real life. Don't do it. But she goes and she finds a pond.
Yeah.
And she just strips her clothes and jumps. And this is when I texted you. I was like, there's a gator in that pond. And sure enough, there's a gator in the pond. And I was like, why? You are in East Texas, bitch.
Like,
do not jump
doing?
in a strange pond.
Yes.
And so while she's swimming, we see a figure kind of in the background, and we kind of don't know what it is. You take over for a second.
So I mean, the gator honestly was the first moment where I was like, okay, cool, this is not Chainsaw.
Yeah, this is not Chainsaw.
And so what, again, they're making this porn, and also his porn dialogue is fucking fantastic. My car broke down. Could I perhaps get a ride?
We don't have a telephone in the house.
My daddy's coming back.
Oh, the name of the porn is The Farmer's Daughters.
Of course it is.
It's The Farmer's Daughters.
And so okay. Shit starts going. People start dying. We can say that. People die in this film. The kills are incredible.
Fucking incredible.
But at the same time, you have what is it? Is it Jenna Ortega?
Yeah.
You have Jenna Ortega's character. She's watching, right? She's the boom operator. She decides she wants to be in the movie.
And this is this is what's so interesting is that because we haven't even talked about the wife. Right. So we're
clearly avoiding the wife.
But we've got Mia Goth, we've got Britney Snow, who are adult women, and there's a wonderful conversation that happens around the coffee table about sex.
Yeah.
And who is having it and why you can, Jenna Ortega's character is young and Christian, and she's like, but doesn't it bother you or blah, blah, blah. And the two other ladies are like, it's just sex.
Right.
Like, and it's my body.
Right.
I can do whatever I want with it.
And the producer, Dwayne, who is with Mia Goth, he's fine with it.
Right. He's fine with it. And you kind of get you don't get the feeling, that Kid Cudi and Britney Snow's characters, they're fucking all the time.
Oh, sure.
And they're not together, but why wouldn't you? They're both beautiful. I know, right? And so they have this conversation about like making porn and sex and just the nature of it and how things are changing. This is 1979 after all. So that's happening. And we should say that Jenna Ortega at some point says, I want to do it.
Yeah. She watches a sex scene and she wants to do it. And the writer-director flips out.
On the other end of the spectrum, we've got the wife who is ill.
Yes.
Right?
Who is very old.
She's very old. And there's something happening between the husband and the wife where she's I guess she's physically ill. I mean, when you get that old, you become physically ill.
Sure.
But there's something else happening with her.
Yes.
How do we talk about this?
I'll say this. So I think one of the smartest things he does is, and you brought this, you raised this point when you and I were just talking about it. She wanders, right? She just sort of wanders, and she sees them filming.
Yeah.
And then she confronts Mia Goth. And says, what you were doing is sinful. All the stuff you would expect an old
Texas lady to tell you.
Who, they met before World War II.
Right.
Like, that's how old they are. And Mia Goth, snaps back, basically. No, that's not, I'm not going to let you tell me what is.
That's what she keeps saying. Yeah. She's like, I'm not going to live a life that I don't deserve.
Right.
Or something like that. I can't remember what it is, but
then what happens is you see that what the old woman wants, is to have that again.
Yeah. She wants to have that again. And you begin to see you begin to learn about that woman's life when she was young.
Yeah.
And I guess she was young in the late 20s, early 30s or something like 30s, that. Yeah. And which was also another time period in our country that was just kind of upended by all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And she, because of who she married, because of where she lived, because of her religion, there's also the whole theme of religion around the movie. We constantly are seeing the tent minister on the TV.
Yes. That's a sort of running thing.
They always have the TV on, and there's one of
preacher.
Those tent preachers.
Yeah.
Talking about sin and all that stuff. And you can see that how the life that this woman has lived, because of where she has lived, has been devoid of physical attention.
Yes. And as she's gotten older, her husband cannot perform.
Right. And she still wants to.
Real bad.
Yeah.
And so what you brought up, one of the things he does really well is he presents in one, section of the film when they're making the porn, these very beautiful people, right? Kid Cudi, Britney Snow, Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega. They're all very
gorgeous.
They're all very attractive movie stars. and how drawn we are as a culture to watching attractive people fuck.
Right.
And then how horrified we are as a culture by watching old people be intimate together.
Right.
And that's
me, what I texted you.
Yes. Yes, you did. And I think you hit on, amidst the killing and the murder and all the things that happen horror wise, which are fucking fantastic.
Right.
That to me is the most intelligent thing about this film.
Yeah. That's almost it's the, well, I think he means it to be the most horrific scene in the movie.
Yes.
So do we want to talk a little bit about that scene?
Sure, yeah.
So there is a point in the movie, spoiler, where we do see the old man and the old woman be intimate with each other, very intimate with each other.
Yeah.
And I texted you, I said, he's so brilliant. I said, there is nothing more terrifying to Americans than old people fucking.
Yes. And the whole movie, he set you up a calling out how, like I said, how much we like to watch, how drawn we are to watching sex, whatever, the voyeuristic aspect.
But don't get old.
Don't get old. That there's nothing worse than getting old. And so I thought like one of the really, I'm pretty proud of us for not spoiling a lot of this movie. It questions, what happens when it's aging, right? Like you still want all the same things. Yeah. But you just can't have them.
And it's like the beauty of it is that our quote unquote villains in this movie, right? Mm-hmm. The man, it's not that he doesn't love his wife.
He loves her dearly.
He loves her dearly, and he wants to be able.
Yeah. He just can't.
He just can't.
Right.
Because when you get old,
you just can't.
So.
And so like that's
fuck as much as you can, kids.
While you're young. Yeah. Listen to Mia Goth's character, which is basically saying that, right? So I mean, I thought, I loved this movie.
I loved it too,
man. The
way
it's shot, the way he handles the kills, the way he handles the question of aging. I thought it was also really smart to have the producer be not quite the same age. So you almost have 3 generations.
Yeah.
With the
older people.
Yeah, I mean, so if he fought in World War II, like the greatest generation.
Right. And then you've got like a baby boomer.
I mean, guess the producer would be like an older baby boomer.
Right.
And then the young people I think would be the
younger
baby boomers. Right. And so I, of course, because I view through the generational lens a lot, probably to too much sometimes, but I said it was like, okay, so if we extrapolate this, we essentially would then move down in our society, right? And so the old people are the boomers, the producer is Gen X, and the porn stars are millennials,
right?
And the 3 very different outlooks they have, because like when Jenna Ortega jumps into the porn, right, when she wants to be in the movie, and the director kid freaks out, the producer, who is older, he's like, can I give you some advice? Like, basically, like, you need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, you knew where you were bringing her.
And she's going to do it anyway.
She's going to do it anyway. And like, don't pretend like you didn't know what was happening.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
it's oddly very empowering.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I mean, and I think the message, like, that is definitely, at least in Jenna Ortega and I'm Britney Snow and Mia, all 3 of them.
Yeah,
right?
all 3 of them
are like, no, it's our right to do this.
Yeah, exactly. And just the idea that the older woman, it's not, you get fed all these lies as a young woman growing up where it's like, you're not supposed to like it. You're not supposed to want it. You're not supposed to, and that's all bullshit.
Right.
It's all bullshit. And you have to pretend like you don't want it.
Yeah.
You have to pretend like you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
You have to pretend, and it's just not true.
True. Yeah. And I thought there was one other brilliant thing I thought he did. I mean, he did it. I just love him. He's like one of my favorite directors.
Man. He's fantastic.
The fact that he has the old man as a World War II vet, right? Mm-hmm. And then Kid Cudi is a Vietnam vet.
Right.
And they have this conversation about being soldiers.
Right.
But you have a man who fought in the what, at least in this country, is still considered like the greatest fucking war ever, right?
Right.
Because like we saved the world in World War II, right?
Sure.
So this guy's a war hero from, at least in American terms, the American mythos,
right,
is the war. That's why we call them the greatest generation, right? And then you have this kid who fought in Vietnam, and the World War II vet can't do the thing anymore. And he's like, because they're like looking, right? They're searching for, again, I don't want to give anything away. It's like, hey, man, he's like, old man, it's been a long time since you were in the trenches. Why don't you let me handle this?
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy was a war hero.
Yeah.
And now he can't.
Well, and it's also, I think it's also a commentary on the nature of those two wars also, because it's like you've got World War II, which is supposedly like clean war.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yes.
And he's like, we can't do this because of this, or that, the old man says. And the kid goes, I was in Vietnam. I did this, this, and this. Just leave it to me.
Yeah.
know?
And it's just like,
even this is a dirty job, what he's about to do.
Yeah. This is, even that is a, yeah, it's a, I mean, he nails so many things.
Yeah.
He had one quote I did want to read. I read an interview with him in Salon, or on Salon. Man, I'm blind. So they were asking him, with all like the horrible shit that's going on in the world constantly.
Now, are you kidding? We're the greatest country.
Greatest country in the world. And then even like with how sort of the message at the end of Innkeepers, which is essentially like, it doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do. You will fucking die. And they were like, so, you can be seen somewhat as a nihilist, right? And were you thinking in terms of like nihilistic terms with how bad everything is in the world during COVID and all that? And Ty West's response was, X is not a nihilistic film. I didn't want to make a nihilistic film. He said, X is really upbeat, fun. It's really an upbeat, fun, crazy night at the movies, even though it also has these weird, dark, subversive elements. And I was like, it is oddly fun.
It is super fun.
Like,
and let's remember that in Innkeepers, our female protagonist dies.
Oh, yeah.
In House of the Devil, well, she doesn't, but
she would have been better off.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think her...
Mia Goth is definitely a hero.
Oh, hell yeah.
In this fucking movie.
And she tells you from the first time you see her.
I'm going to be special.
Yeah, and she is.
I fucking love that scene. Don't you love that scene where the first porn scene they're shooting, and Britney Snow is like... I mean, she's really good at fucking y'all in this movie, but she's playing the bad actress.
Yes.
And she does it really well. And it's really bad. And then we get Mia Goth's porn scene where she's milking the cow and he comes into the barn.
Yeah.
And
it's different.
And it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. The way it's shot, the way the scene is acted. You look at her and you go like, oh yeah, she is going to be somebody.
Yeah. And she is.
And she is.
And so like, it is a weird movie. And like, Drew Wall, friend of the show, he was like, I felt unclean watching it.
Uh-huh.
And I get that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it has the sort of fun.
All the fun elements.
Of watching like an old school slasher.
Yeah.
Of watching 70s porn.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. It's fun to watch 70s porn.
It's fun to watch 70s porn. Sorry. It's true.
And so it has all that. And like, it is oddly leaves you with hope in a way that I don't think his other two major films do. Mm-hmm. I mean, the end of Innkeepers, God, Kelly McGillis's last line, because the guy comes back and he's like, you could have done something. And she's like, nobody could have done anything.
Nobody could have done anything.
You're like, oh, fuck.
Right. Right. The end of House of the Devil is the same way, where it's like, oh, well.
Sorry.
It's going to happen.
So this is not that. And we have avoided... honestly giving away huge plot points. Go watch it.
Oh, it's so good. I just read something this morning that apparently this X is going to be a trilogy of some sort.
Oh.
And while he was shooting X, he wrote and shot part of this other movie called Pearl.
Okay.
I don't know. I tried looking for the trailer, but apparently there's a trailer and it's called Pearl.
Okay.
And it's part of this X world.
Hell yeah.
So I'm all for it.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes of his was, I think after, it was probably Innkeepers. He said like, and I'm paraphrasing. Sorry, Ty West. He said, I don't make horror movies. I make regular movies that have horrific elements in them.
He's a genius.
And I really do believe that. Like I know I talk about Innkeepers a lot. For 80 minutes, that is just a movie about two people in their 20s trying to figure out what the fuck they're going to do with their lives.
It's true.
And then the scariest fucking
15 minutes happen in the world. Yeah. And it's still like, it is still the scariest 15 minutes for me. I start getting anxious every time I watch that movie and I know it's coming.
Yeah.
So X, go watch it.
Do it.
It's a great, great film. You're going to love it. All right. All right. In honor of the next movie, we're going to play Rock Intro.
Yeah.
Rock Intro, Foo Fighters, Studio 666.
That does kind of sound like a Foo Fighters song.
It does kind of. Oh my gosh, like from the 90s.
Yeah.
Or the aughts.
So yeah, Studio 666. Look, I think, I don't know, man. I like Dave Grohl.
I do too.
I'm not even a huge Foo Fighters fan, but he seems like a really cool guy. Also, he was in fucking Nirvana.
So fuck you.
And Pat Smear is also in this film. He was also in fucking Nirvana. So we saw this preview. This is what we were going to watch next because we had done the Kiss movie, right?
Right.
And this preview had come out. And so we finally got back to it.
Gosh, that Kiss movie seems so long ago.
That was like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what this movie is.
I don't know what this movie is, but I will say we had fun.
Absolutely.
But here, okay, so I started reading about it, and it turns out that Foo Fighters actually did go to a funky house and record their next album.
This is the plot.
And while this was happening, while they were recording, Dave Grohl got an idea, and because he's Dave Grohl, he called up some screenwriters
and they
was like, "Hey, can you like flesh out this idea for me?"
Yeah. So they play them, versions of themselves.
Right.
They're the Foo Fighters.
They're
renting
Fighters.
a house to record their 10th album.
Right.
We did say like tenuously, we're talking about two movies where a group of artists are trying to create art,
a piece of art.
A porn or a Foo Fighters album. And so again, I really like Dave Grohl. He is, I think, inherently likable. He's also at least cool, and I mean, he seems really cool. But he is cool enough to play the role of like Dave Grohl as the asshole of the band.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Which I am sure is.
I appreciate that.
Yes, but I'm sure is not true, right? Mm-hmm. It was also odd because in the time like Taylor died, and like it was strange.
It was strange. That part was very strange to watch
because he died not long after the movie came out. Right. What's so weird about this movie, right? It's like, okay, Foo Fighters, we're going to go record This House is Haunted, whatever. Great. That's
right. It's like in the grand tradition of those 70s bands.
Yeah.
That were like
Zeppelin, right?
Fleetwood Mac, we're going to go record in a castle. Zeppelin, we're going to go record,
Yeah, it's always a fucking castle.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And this is the LA version of a castle.
Right. It's a Spanish style mansion.
Yeah, this house is unreal.
Yeah.
Like the patio or deck alone.
Insane.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What's so weird to me, the first scene is so fucking good.
Legit.
Like scary, gory as shit. I mean, after the first scene, because you and John came over to celebrate my freedom. After the first scene, you just kind of yelled, I am in.
I did.
And I was like, I'm right there with you. This scene is fucking right on.
Right.
I mean, legitimately scary,
on point.
And like in terms of a horror.
Yeah. Not like fun, scary romp.
No. Scary. Like for the opening, pre-credits first kill, which is a very common thing now.
Right.
Like fucking scary and gory as shit.
Yeah.
Like that is a warning. Even though this is ultimately, I think, a comedy, like this movie is
very
extremely gory.
Yeah.
That tone of the first scene never returns.
Never.
And I don't know why.
I don't know if they were like trying to fool us,
right,
or if it was just all over the place because it was like, I guess we're making this movie. Like, I did read an interview, and that's what Taylor says.
Yeah.
Is that they started shooting while they were recording the album because they're
Like
the Foo Fighters and they can do that. And then you just call up John Carpenter.
Yeah, dude, John Carpenter wrote the theme for this and
he makes
cameo.
a fucking cameo appearance in the movie.
Yeah.
And they're like halfway into recording the album and also having fun filming this movie. And Taylor is quoted as saying, I guess we're making a feature.
Right. And it feels like they didn't know that.
Right.
And it
kind of looks like they didn't know that.
And so there are like definitely huge nods to the Evil Dead movies.
Yeah.
Evil Dead,
absolutely.
especially Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
As far as like the way they treat blood and gore.
Right.
And I mean, there's basically the
There's
Necronomicon.
an evil,
the Necronomicon. But I was talking when you and me and John were talking after the movie. I said, like, it is so hard to do what Raimi does in, especially Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. Evil Dead 1 is a different thing. To blend tone and style the way Raimi can do it in a way that I don't think most directors can.
And he even does it in his other movies
Exactly.
too.
Even like when he made Spider-Man or whatever.
Even when he made Drag Me to Hell.
Yes. But he's Sam Raimi and that's his thing. And also if you look at Evil Dead and those movies, you also have Bruce Campbell, who is
brilliant.
And I will fucking go to the grave arguing that he is still underrated.
Yeah.
I know he's had a very nice career, but like he can do a thing that a lot of people cannot fucking do.
Yep.
Like he is a comedian and a leading man and can satirize being a leading man. Like,
right.
To me, it takes a Raimi.
There's only one other who can do that, and that's Brad Pitt.
It's absolutely Brad Pitt. Honestly, Pitt can do it, man.
He can, I'm telling you.
It takes, I think, a very unique. I think the Coens can do this in a way.
Yeah.
Not everyone can do it.
Right.
And I had fun watching this, but I don't think it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It's a complete mess.
And it's like a big mixture of lots of things. Like wherein, I'm using fancy words,
man.
Where the gore is fucking amazing.
Oh my God.
It's really, really good. I mean, cover your eyes.
Yes.
Fantastic. The ghouls and the ghosts are straight out of like a Disney animation movie.
It's so strange.
It's really odd.
And
they're not scary at all.
No, and almost purposefully they're wacky.
Yeah.
But then you have like a dude beat the fuck out of someone with a hammer or slap their face on a grill until everything burns. It's just like, it's like 8 movies.
It's 8 movies.
And look, I'm going to say this. Y'all, they can't act.
They can't act. And I was willing to forgive that
Sure.
at the beginning. You know, I even said it. I was like, okay, this looks fun. So I'm going to not worry about their terrible acting skills because they've got some friends in their movie.
Oh, they surround themselves.
With like some really good comedic
they're
actors.
smart. I mean, Will Forte, Whitney Cummings.
There's only like, 6 people in the movie? And the Foo Fighters? Yeah. And Lionel Richie.
Oh, my... Dude,
I love
that
that part.
scene was amazing.
That scene was fucking
There's
amazing.
a Lionel Richie cameo that it's like one of the best things I've ever seen.
Exactly.
And I told you and John, Aspen and I went to go see Lionel Richie a few years ago. One of the best fucking shows I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I don't doubt it. He was a Commodore.
Yeah, man. He's still got it.
He wrote Brick House.
He wrote Brick House. Okay. Real quick. So Lionel Richie ends with like All Night Long, right? And he goes off stage and we're like, how the fuck do you follow up All Night Long? Like how does he do an encore? And he comes back out and he's changed out of his awesome black suit into an awesome white suit. And he just goes, I wrote this song with my friend Michael Jackson. And then he launched into We Are the World.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, holy shit, that's how you do it. Anyway, Lionel Richie cameo, fantastic. But it's... Again, we had fun. We were also all in a very good mood. Like, it is what it is. I don't know what it is.
You don't have to listen. This is one of those movies where it's like, if you want to get together with friends and drink some beers and eat some food and talk while you're watching the movie.
And look at gore.
It's if you love the Foo Fighters.
Sure.
It's a fun movie, but I don't know what it is.
No.
And also, John Carpenter wrote the theme.
Yes, and John Carpenter wrote the theme, and then there is another piece of music who I assume the Foo Fighters wrote. I didn't look that up. That's actually kicks
That's actually
ass.
really great.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really great.
And I imagine, and we said this, like, again, I like these guys. I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan. But I think if you are, they're clearly playing on.
There are a lot of inside jokes.
Yeah, like
about who they are. Yeah. So I mean, it was fun. They also got a Dorito sponsorship.
Yeah, good for them.
Sorry about your walking taco disaster, but there you are.
Pat Smear, just weirder than I even imagined.
I know, that dude is so weird, but I kind of love him.
Oh, yeah.
And the other actors in the movie are super, super funny.
Yes. Always smart to, if you can't act, surround yourself with those who can.
With those who can.
I mean, Whitney, and is it Grossman? Abby? I can't remember Grossman's first name. I'm terrible. Leslie? I don't know. Anyway, they are doing the Lord's work, man. Those two women.
And Jenna Ortega.
Like,
in the opening scene.
She's fantastic.
She is really fantastic.
But it's like there are scenes where Whitney Cummings has to do with the whole band, and like she is working. And then Forte just comes in as Will Forte, and it's funny.
There's a really great story about, I think I told you about it, about how John Carpenter actually got on the film.
This is amazing.
Where they called him up to what was it?
Dave Grohl wrote it, and I love that he introduced himself. He was like, "Do you think John Carpenter would be interested in?" They had a mutual friend.
And the friend was like, "Oh yeah, he'd love to write the theme for you or whatever.
Make a cameo.
That's right. Make a cameo." And so Dave Grohl writes an email to John Carpenter. And he says, "Hey, my name's Dave Grohl. I have a band called the Foo Fighters.
No shit, dude.
Would you like to make a cameo?" And John Carpenter writes back and says, "Not only will I make a cameo, I will write the theme song for it because my kids' band opened for your band and you were really good to them.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to make a cameo and write your theme song." And it's a fucking John Carpenter classic horror movie theme.
And it's a great theme.
It's great.
And his cameo is funny, and his kid, I mean, his kid's a grown-ass man.
Cudi,
is in it.
And then after we watched the movie, we went down this John Carpenter YouTube video.
Can I tell you something?
In concert.
I got to say this, y'all, because it's July 4th, and I know a lot of people are watching Stranger Things. Go listen to John Carpenter's theme for the movie Christine. And you can see essentially every piece of music in Stranger Things.
Right. I'm not a fan of Christine.
No.
But the music's great.
So great.
So good.
So yeah, that's Studio 666.
Studio 666. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's fun.
If you love the Foo Fighters.
Some good jokes.
Yeah, good gore.
If you want to watch Jeff Garland just phone in a performance, you can do that. Also, that house is amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
And I want it.
Yeah, me too. But for sure, go watch X.
Yes.
It's so good, y'all.
Yeah.
We're going to try and get out to see Black Phone. And hopefully that will be our next episode. We have some things planned now that we both have more freedom.
Yeah. This is it. We're going to grow Tat. We're going to take over the world.
We're going to grow Tat. And thanks, Jim John Make Noise, for our theme music. And that's it, guys. It feels great to be back.
Bye.
Bye.
Coffee Coke.